Hello, Digimon fans! Well, with this series, I initially wanted to touch on the basics first because it would help the new players get into the game, and also you have to have a strong foundation before you can understand the more in-depth stuff. Yeah, but then I realized, a lot of veteran players, a lot of existing players were pretty confused with the latest rule update, especially the part which says rule check and simultaneous triggering. Yeah, so what happened was a lot of players would reach out to me, ask me to check, the sequence of activation of effects in those whatever situations they came across. Yeah, whether it followed the new updated rules. But most of the time, the situations they brought up had no relation to the rule updates. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't blame them because the title says simultaneous triggering. So they thought, some there was some major change to simultaneous triggering. But here's a PSA. The only thing that changed with the new rule updates are deletion by rule check. Yes, effects that trigger from deletion by rule check. So if it does not involve a rule check deletion, which is, if your Digimon DP get reduced to zero, yep, so it's not affected. Everything else stays the same. So, first things first, what is simultaneous triggering? Well, basically it refers to multiple effects triggering at the same time. For instance, this BT5 Omegamon here. When you digivolve into it, you trigger two effects at the same time, and when that happens, you, as the owner of both effects, get to choose which to activate first. Meaning you can choose to declare an attack with Blitz, then unsuspend, or if your Amalgamon is suspended, you can unsuspend it first, then declare an attack with Blitz. Simultaneous triggering can also be a result of one effect. For example, Mastermon here. When you digivolve into Mastermon, both players will trash their security, then you can play level 4 lower purple or yellow Digimon. So the first part of the effect can trigger cards such as Magnamon X, Yagami Hikari, Denasmon, while the second part of the effect can trigger effects such as Rostrum and on-play effects of the Digimon that was played. In this case, even if cards like Magnamon X was triggered first, it would still count as having the same timing as the group of cards that were triggered later, because all of them were triggered by the same effect. Well, in this case, which effects would go first? So let's say we have Lucemon and Hikari on our side, while opponent has Magnamon X. So as previously mentioned, Lucemon and Hikari has the same timing even though Lucemon was played later on. But what about Magnax? Well, in cases where both players' effects have the same timing, we look at turn player priority. So the turn player would activate the effects of Lucemon and Hikari first before the opponent can activate the effects of Magnamon X. But take note, turn player priority is only for effects that trigger at the same timing. If you have two effects in queue and activating the first effect causes one of your opponent's effects to trigger, that effect will activate before you can activate the second effect. As the rulebook says, if activating an effect causes a new effect to trigger, they activate before other effects. So now that we're clear on how simultaneous triggering works, let's look at what's the big deal about this new update. So basically, this new update only affects effects that have DP reduction and something else. Well, for example, Flame's Hell Scythe. Yeah, so let's simulate a situation which will make it easier for you to understand how and what changed. Let's say your opponent has a Digimon with EX5 Leomon in its Digivolution cards and you use Flame Hellscythe. If we go by the old rules, that Digimon will have its DP reduced by 6000, then you play a BT16 Lotmon X antibody. After the effect resolves, there will be a rule check, and your opponent's Digimon will be deleted by rule, triggering the inherited effect of EX5 Leomon. Since Leomon's inherited effect was the latest to trigger, it will have priority over your Lotmon X antibody's on-play effect. So your opponent can reduce your Lotmon X antibodies DP by 2000 and it will be deleted by rule check before it can activate its own on-play effect. However, the new rules state that effects that are triggered during one process and effects that are triggered by the subsequent rule check will be considered as being triggered simultaneously. So if we apply the new rules to the previous situation, Lotmon X antibodies on play will be considered as triggering at the same time as the on deletion of EX5 Lilmon. So in this case, with turn player's priority, you can activate the on-play effect of Lotmon X antibody to increase its DP by 3000 before your opponent can reduce its DP. So that allows it to survive. So I hope this video has been easy to understand. If you have any more queries on the subject, or maybe you would like to hear about a new ruling, yes, feel free to drop me a comment down below or message me at Digimon Meta or Sun Gaming Channel. Well, that's all from me today. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See ya!